Good morning, everyone. Today I want to talk about something we are all guilty of at some point in our lives: comparing ourselves to others. It's a silent thief, creeping into our thoughts and stealing our confidence, joy, and peace. In a world dominated by social media highlights and constant competition, it's far too easy to look at someone else's life and feel like we're falling behind. Comparison, though often subconscious, has a profound effect on our emotional well-being. It creeps into our minds quietly, often disguised as admiration or inspiration, and then slowly turns into envy or self-doubt. When we constantly compare ourselves to others, we focus more on what we lack rather than appreciating what we have. This shift in focus creates an internal conflict. We begin to question our value, our progress, and even our purpose. We forget that every individual has a unique story with different circumstances, privileges, and challenges. By comparing ourselves to someone else's chapter 20, while we are on chapter 5, we set ourselves up for disappointment. One of the most damaging aspects of comparison is how it blinds us to our own achievements. Instead of celebrating personal growth or progress, we dismiss it because it doesn't match someone else's success. We downplay our victories, thinking they are not significant enough, or that they're somehow less meaningful if someone else has done more or done it faster. This mindset slowly chips away at our self-consciousness, and soon even our biggest accomplishments feel inadequate. So the joy that should come from hard work and perseverance is replaced with feelings of not being good enough. Moreover, comparison fosters a sense of resentment, not only toward others but also toward ourselves. We become overly critical, focusing on our perceived flaws or failures, which only increases anxiety and dissatisfaction. This internal pressure can be exhausting. We try to keep up appearances, chase goals that aren't truly ours, or force ourselves into molds that don't fit us. As a result, we begin to lose touch with who we are and what truly matters to us. The joy of simply being ourselves, of living authentically, fades under the weight of unrealistic expectations. In essence, comparison takes us away from the present. It robs us of the ability to enjoy our journey. Because we're too busy looking sideways, life becomes a race instead of an experience. Every moment we spend wishing we were someone else is a moment wasted. A moment we could have used to grow, connect, or simply be. When we finally realize that joy isn't found in measuring up to others, but in being at peace with ourselves, we begin to reclaim our power. Only then can we fully embrace the beauty of our own life and feel grateful for the path we are on. In today's digital era, social media has become a central part of our daily lives. It serves as a platform where people share moments, memories, and milestones. However, what we often forget is that what we see online is a highly filtered and curated version of reality. People choose to post the best moments, the highlights, and rarely reveal the full picture, which includes their struggles, failures, and insecurities. This creates an illusion that everyone else is living a perfect life, free of problems and setbacks. But behind every smiling selfie and luxurious vacation post, there may be untold stories of stress, fear, or hardship that never make it to the screen. The impact of this illusion is deep and psychological, Constantly consuming idealized images can distort our understanding of what real life actually looks like. We begin to set unrealistic expectations for ourselves, to always look perfect, always succeed, always be happy. When our reality doesn't match what we see online, we may feel like we are falling short. This mismatch creates emotional turbulence, leading to feelings of inadequacy, low self-sustainment, and chronic dissatisfaction. We start comparing our everyday unfiltered lives with someone else's digital highlight reel, and it's a comparison we are always going to lose. Another dangerous aspect of social media is the subtle pressure it creates to perform or pretend. Instead of living authentically, many people start tailoring their lives to fit an online image. They feel compelled to post achievements, showcase material possessions, or appear constantly productive just to gain validation through likes and comments. This performative behavior not only creates anxiety and stress, but also distances us from who we truly are. We become more concerned with how our lives look rather than how our lives feel. Over time, this leads to emotional burnout and a sense of disconnection from reality. Moreover, the addictive nature of social media amplifies the comparison trap. Scrolling through endless feeds of seemingly perfect lives makes it harder to focus on our own progress and blessings. Instead of appreciating what we have, we keep chasing what we don't. We forget that most of what we see is staged, edited, or exaggerated. The truth is, everyone has their battles, but most people choose not to share them publicly. When we understand this, we can begin to view social media more critically, with awareness, and protect our mental health by reminding ourselves that no one's life is as flawless as it appears on a screen. One of the most liberating truths we can embrace is the understanding that each person's life path is different. From the moment we're born, we are shaped by a unique combination of experiences, opportunities, challenges, and choices that no one else will ever replicate exactly. Some people find success early in life, while others take longer to discover their purpose. Some experience rapid change and breakthrough, while others grow steadily and quietly. This diversity is not a flaw in the human experience. It is the very essence of it. We are not all meant to walk the same road at the same pace, and that's perfectly okay. Unfortunately, societal pressures often suggest otherwise. There's a persistent narrative that we must achieve certain milestones: graduating, getting a job, marrying, owning a house, all by a specific age. When we deviate from these timelines, we may feel inadequate or behind. But the truth is, life is not a one-size-fits-all journey. Just because someone else reached a goal sooner doesn't mean your journey is less meaningful or important. In fact, the struggles, detours, and slower progress you face may be giving you deeper wisdom and resilience that will benefit you in the long run. Everyone is writing a different story, and no story is more valuable than another. The danger of forgetting the uniqueness of our own journey is that we start comparing ourselves to others based on superficial markers of success. We overlook the richness of our personal growth, the lessons we've learned, and the strength we've gained. We start to feel unworthy, even though our journey may have been more complex or required more courage. It's easy to envy someone's destination when we don't know what it cost them to get there. What's more, we might be so focused on someone else's path that we miss the beauty of our own unfolding process. The small wins, the quiet moments of clarity, the personal breakthroughs that define our character. When we truly internalize the belief that everyone's journey is different, we begin to let go of comparison and embrace self-compassion. We start measuring success not by someone else's timeline, but by how authentically we're living our own truth. It's a mindset shift that replaces envy with appreciation and pressure with patience. By honoring our individual path, we gain the freedom to evolve at our own pace. By honoring pace, freedom to acceptation. Even for those individual transports, every trade or not an expressive language, acceptance and delight, shritans and life. One of the most damaging beliefs we internalize is the idea that we are somehow behind in life. This feeling often stems from constant comparisons, seeing others achieving certain milestones before us, whether it's graduating early, securing a high-paying job, starting a family, or buying a home. Society sets arbitrary timelines for a success, and when our lives don't align with them, we start to question our worth. But life isn't a race with a single finish line. We all begin from different starting points, face different challenges, and have access to different opportunities. Being on a different timeline doesn't mean you're behind. It simply means you're walking a path uniquely tailored for you. The notion of being behind creates a constant sense of urgency and inadequacy. It fuels anxiety and forces people into decisions they may not be emotionally or mentally prepared for, simply because they feel pressured to catch up. People may rush into careers they don't love, relationships they're not ready for, or lifestyles that don't relate for, or lifestyles that don't lead to long-term dissatisfaction and regret. The truth is, taking your time, pausing when necessary, and choosing a path that aligns with who you truly are. The improvement in growth is not a sign of failure. It's about direction. It's abundance of potential. There are countless examples of people who achieve their biggest successes later in life, from authors publishing their first book in their 50s to entrepreneurs starting businesses after retirement. Real high stories prove that timing's personal. Just because your journey unfolds differently doesn't mean it's less significant. In fact, those who take longer to reach their goals often gain a depth of experience and self-worthiness that adds richness to their achievement. We must stop measuring our lives by someone else's yardstick. The idea that there's a universal timeline for success is a myth, one that leads to more harm than good. Understanding that you are not behind allows you to breathe, to pause, and to live with more intention. It gives you the freedom to make decisions that serve your well-being rather than your image. It helps you focus on quality over quantity and depth over speed. When you truly believe that your timeline is valid, you begin to detach from external pressure and instead tune into your inner compass. You stop chasing what looks right and start creating what feels right. This shift not only empowers your present, but also reshapes your entire future with purpose, authenticity, and peace. One of the most dangerous habits we develop from constant comparison is the tendency to attach our self-worth to external validation. We start measuring our value based on how others perceive us, what they say about us, and how much attention or approval we receive. Whether it's through likes on social media, praise at work, or the admiration of peers, we begin to equate these responses with our personal worth. But self-worth is not something that can be handed to us by others. It must be built from within. The moment we depend on external sources to feel good about ourselves, we hand over our power and allow others to define our identity. When our sense of value is tied to external achievements or appearance, it becomes fragile and inconsistent. If we don't get enough recognition, if someone criticizes us, or if we don't meet certain standards, we quickly spiral into self-doubt. This creates a constant emotional roller coaster. One moment we feel on top of the world, and the next we feel like we're not enough. Such instability prevents us from developing a strong and enduring sense of confidence. True self-worth is rooted in knowing who you are, regardless of success or failure, praise or rejection. It's about embracing your whole self, strengths, flaws, growth, and all. Relying on external validation can also lead us to make decisions that go against our authentic selves. We might pursue goals that don't fulfill us, engage in activities we don't enjoy, or present a false version of ourselves to fit in. This disconnection between who we are and how we present ourselves can lead to feelings of emptiness, even when we appear successful on the outside. Over time, we may lose sight of what truly brings us joy and meaning. It's only when we detach our self-worth from how others view us that we can begin to live with integrity, following our passions and values without fear of judgment or rejection. Building internal self-worth takes conscious effort. It involves self-reflection, forgiveness, setting healthy boundaries, and honoring your unique journey. It's about recognizing your value, not for what you do, but for who you are, a human being worthy of love, respect, and compassion. When you know your worth from the inside out, you stop chasing approval and start creating a life that feels right to you. You stop measuring yourself by others' standards and begin holding yourself to your own values. This shift allows you to walk through the world with confidence, resilience, and peace, regardless of external circumstances. In a world obsessed with competition and constant comparison, we are often encouraged to measure our worth against others. Whether it's academic scores, career achievements, financial status, or physical appearance, society feeds us the idea that someone else's success is somehow a benchmark for our own. But this mindset is inherently flawed because it disregards individual context, background, and goals. The only person you should genuinely compare yourself to is the version of you from yesterday. That's the truest, healthiest form of competition, one that is centered on personal growth rather than external validation. When we focus on competing with others, we fall into the trap of chasing goals that may not even align with our true desires. We begin to strive for things simply because someone else has them, not because they fulfill us. This can lead to a life of imitation rather than intention. Competing with your past self, however, allows you to define success on your own terms. It's about asking, am I kinder than I was yesterday? Am I more patient, more focused, more grounded? Am I learning from my mistakes and growing even in small ways? By turning our attention inward, we develop a deeper understanding of our own journey. We begin to appreciate our small wins, the lessons learned from failure, and the consistent effort we put into becoming better human beings. Progress doesn't always come in big dramatic moments. Sometimes it's found in quiet perseverance, in the courage to try again after falling, or in the decision to respond with love instead of anger. Measuring our growth through these moments creates a sense of fulfillment that external validation can never provide. It teaches us that our worth is tied to our evolution, not to how we rank against someone else. When you compete only with your past self, you create space for self-compassion and continuous development. You allow yourself to grow without the pressure of comparison or the fear of judgment. This perspective fosters patience, resilience, and self-acceptance. It removes the need to prove yourself to the world and replaces it with a desire to become the best version of you. This kind of internal competition nurtures motivation without toxicity and helps you move through life with purpose and clarity. Instead of looking sideways to see who is ahead or behind, you look inward, where real growth, peace, and self-worth are cultivated. Living your own life fully means embracing your identity, your values, and your path, without allowing the noise of the world to drown out your inner voice. Too often, we get swept up in the expectations of others, whether it's family, society, or the virtual world we interact with daily. We try to meet standards that are never ours to begin with, chase dreams that aren't ours, and walk roads that don't feel right beneath our feet. This disconnection leads to a deep sense of dissatisfaction and confusion. But when we begin to live for ourselves from a place of truth, clarity starts to return. We find ourselves reconnecting with what truly matters to us, even if it looks different from what others are doing. Living fully also means letting go of the fear of judgment. The fear of what people will say, how they will react, or whether they will approve of our choices, is one of the greatest barriers to authentic living. But the truth is, no matter what path we take, there will always be critics. Trying to please everyone only guarantees that we end up pleasing no one, especially not ourselves. Living fully requires courage, the courage to follow your intuition, to take risks that reflect your passions, and to speak up even when your voice shakes. It's not about perfection or constant happiness. It's about integrity, honesty, and alignment with your values. To live fully, you must also allow yourself to experience all the shades of life, the joy and the sorrow, the success and the struggle, the excitement and the uncertainty. Many people numb themselves or distract their minds because they are afraid to feel deeply or face discomfort. But a life lived on the surface is not a life truly lived. When we dare to face our experiences head on, we gain resilience, depth, and wisdom. These are the qualities that make a life meaningful. A full life is not one that avoids pain, but one that transforms pain into growth and strength. It is in our willingness to show up fully with all our flaws and gifts that we truly begin to live. Living your own life fully also means celebrating yourself, your unique qualities, talents, and the progress you've made. It means recognizing that your presence in this world matters. You are not here to be a shadow of someone else. You are here to be entirely and unapologetically you. When you stop trying to live someone else's life and start living your own, you reclaim your time, your energy, and your happiness. You begin to build a life that reflects your truth. Not a highlight reel, not an imitation, but a living, breathing expression of who you really are. That is where real freedom begins. So let this be your reminder. You were never meant to live someone else's story. Your life, your pace, your purpose, they are all uniquely yours. The journey may not always be smooth and the road may not always be clear, but comparing yourself to others will only cloud your path further. Instead, focus on your own progress, honor your own growth, and trust your own timing. You are not behind, you are not lacking, and you are not defined by what others have or do. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. Walk your path with confidence, live your life with authenticity, and celebrate every step of becoming who you were always meant to be.